Hey everybody, how's it going? Brett Mix here from Macho Wrestling 101. We got a good one today because there's a tournament. I don't know about you, but I love wrestling tournaments. They make the shows so much more exciting, even if it's booked atrociously. Survivor Series 98. It's still a lot of fun either way. This is WrestleMania 4. We're continuing the WrestleMania anthology today. Before I can say that, I just want to say I'm Brett Mix again with Macho Wrestling 101. Please subscribe to my channel for wrestling videos. We pump out ones by the day. We're doing the WrestleMania anthology. Then we'll move on to another pay-per-view. We'll do other random pay-per-views. I'll stay up to date with Raw, SmackDown, live pay-per-views, and give you the hot topics in the world of wrestling. So please subscribe. It only takes a second, and my feet would be off the floor. It would help me out a great deal. So other than that, let's get to WrestleMania 4. Gladys Knight sang America the Beautiful. It was Gorilla and Jesse the Body Ventura on commentary again. I believe they did the first 5. The opening match here was a 20-man battle royal. The winner gets a trophy and I guess a push. There was a lot of names in this one. Bad News Brown. I'll just name a few of the names because I'm not going to list 20 guys off. You're going to get bored. Bad News Brown, Bret Hart, Jim Neidhart, Junkyard Dog, Nikolai Volkov, Harley Race, and a bunch of tag team wrestlers like the Killer Bees, the Rougeaus. It came down to Bad News Brown, Bret Hart, and the JYD. The fans were cheering for JYD. He was the over face in the match, but Bret and Bad News double teamed them since they were both heels. They got the JYD out, but then Bad News Brown, as Monsoon called it, did a Pearl Harbor job on Bret, and from there, Bad News won the match, but Bret turned babyface as he attacked him, and his trophy broke in pieces, and he threw the trophy outside the ring at Bad News. So it was an interesting way to start a night that had 16 matches, but that was the first match, and I give that a 1.5 stars. Interesting way. Now we get to the title tournament. The title is in a tournament because of Andre the Giant and Hogan's controversial Saturday night's main event ending, where Dibiase unofficially bought the belt. But President Jack Tunney ruled that it will be a tournament, and Hogan and Andre both get buys to the second round. This is the first round match. $1 Million Man Dibiase meets Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Andre was in his corner, and that's relevant because in the end, he grabbed Duggan's leg, and Dibiase hit a fist drop after that, and he clocked him in at 4:54. So Dibiase used his heel tactics and his manager's services to get the victory and move on to the second round. I rate this 2 stars. Alright, and the third match is another first round match between the Rock Don Morocco and Canada's strongest man, Dino Bravo, out with Frenchie Martin. 1-on-1, they went 4:53. The match was a rather confusing ending because the referee just got involved in the middle of the match and they rang the bell. No one knew what was happening, but I guess Dino Bravo ended up getting disqualified because he moved the ref in the way of Morocco's offense when he tried to hit a forearm. The ref got pushed in the way of direction, so they disqualified Dino Bravo. He's out of the tournament, and Duran Morocco moves on to face Dibiase in the second round. For another first round match, we got Greg the Hammer Valentine versus Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. Steamboat coming off the Classic versus Savage at WrestleMania 3. He wants to make it another Steamboat Savage because if Steamboat beats Valentine and Savage beats his opponent, they would meet in the second round. Did it happen? Well, let's see. This is one of the most underrated matches in WrestleMania history, in my opinion. I love the work rate. It looked so great compared to all the other matches on the night. So fast, and it ended up with Valentine rolled on top of Steamboat the same way that he did on Savage the year before. And a lot of action, the climax was brilliant. In the end, Valentine pinned Steamboat with a rolling through on a flying crossbody at 9:12 to move on. So good to have a great match like this low in the card. Valentine moved on. It's disappointing that we don't get Steamboat Savage, but we get Valentine versus Savage. I rate that match 3.5 stars. Valentine and Steamboat from WrestleMania 4. Go back and watch it if you haven't seen it in a while. It might surprise you, because this show is known for the title tournament, but there's also other elements to the show as well. Macho Man had his first match of the night, so his first wardrobe. Elizabeth has her first wardrobe. They met the Natural Butch Reed, who had Slick in his corner. The Natural Butch Reed has plenty of experience in other territories, as did Macho Man. but Savage battled back after Butch Reed was controlling the match. He pinned Reed after a flying elbow drop to move on at 5:07, and I give that match a 1.5 stars. It was very basic. Next first round match was the One Man Gang versus the Bam Bam Bigelow. A big man's match here that only went 2:56. Bam Bam was hit by the One Man Gang on the apron and didn't get back in. He was counted out. So the One Man Gang advances. I rate this 3/4 star, 0.75, not very good. Next we had, speaking of not very good, it's really subjective, but what's not subjective is reality, and reality says that Rick Rude faced Jake the Snake Roberts, and you would never guess that the longest chin lock, the longest camel clutch modified chin lock to ever take place in a match happened in this match. Maybe you would. Rude does like the rest holds, but my God. This match, there's the first boring chant I've ever heard at a wrestling event this old. And it wasn't boring. They actually told a good story, but they did it so methodical. Think Bret Hart, Undertaker, Royal Rumble 96, but even slower. Rude was working on the back of Jake Roberts, wearing him down with his prowess. Tried to get Jake on the mat for the leverage advantage. I get it, but count. Donald Trump is sitting in the front row, by the way, like this, smiling. It's amazing. The crowd's chanting boring, and he's like... Anyways, they both got counted out 15 minutes because no one decided to wrestle. No one decided to take advantage, so they're both out of the tournament. Next, we have the complete... And I didn't rate that a dud. I actually gave it 2 stars. I don't hate the match. Yes, the chin lock went a couple minutes too long. Both of them. They both went up 2 or 3 minutes too long. But nonetheless, it was a decent match between two good workers. It's Rude and Roberts, man. It's not a bad match. Only if you really have a short attention span. But if you have a short attention span, I can't see you watching this review. This is a long 16-match review, so I don't think that's you. The Ultimate Warrior and Hercules is up next. It's a power match. It's completely different from the match we just saw that was boring for the fans and slow and methodical storytelling. This one was just fast-paced, power moves, and the Warrior won at 4:29, and Hercules tried to beat him with his chain after, but the Warrior was the Warrior and chased him off. I give that a star. Alright, so now we get to the second round. Hogan faces Andre in a rematch from WrestleMania 3 and Saturday night's main event. Hyped up for good reason. This was actually had better spots than the WrestleMania 3 match, but obviously nothing close to WrestleMania 3 with importance. Hogan slammed Andre after the match, but the fact is they were both disqualified for using chairs at 5:05. So Hogan did his pose down. Donald Trump was up clapping, even though he got disqualified. Him and Andre are both out, but they're both out of the second round, meaning that the winner of Don Morocco and Dibiase would now go to the finals, because this is a second round bye, not the first round bye. Like Jake the Snake and Rick Rude was a first round bye, so that means the One Man Gang leaped over. Well, Dibiase gets to leap over 2 rounds because this is a second round bye between Hogan and the Giant. Well, Dibiase or Morocco, but we know it's Dibiase. And we'll find that out right here in this match as Dibiase faces Morocco. Don Morocco loses, just as I aforementioned. Dibiase pinned The Rock at a hot shot at 5:40. Yes, they called Don Morocco The Rock at 5:40, so now he's off to the finals. The $1 Million Man is almost the WWF champion for good this time. That was 2.5 stars. Now we get Savage versus Valentine. I don't think these two like each other very much. It was a very stiff match. I'm not saying that came out during the match, but I'm just saying it's a fact. I don't think these two guys. Do you listen to what Greg Valentine says? He said something like, "I'll stretch him." That was in a shoot interview one time I heard. He just went, "I'll stretch him. If he comes after me, I'll stretch him." Obviously, this is before Savage died. Savage pinned up Valentine at the roll-up, coming out of his figure 4 leg lock in a unique fashion at 6:06. I gave this match 2.5 stars. Valentine and Savage are two good workers in there, and they wrestled to a pretty good work rate match. Brutus the Barber Beefcake versus the Honky Tonk Man for the Intercontinental title. These two guys were over as characters. They could just do their strutting around and the crowd would react. Not much wrestling going on, but it ended at 6:30 when the Honky Tonk Man was disqualified after Jimmy Hart hit the megaphone on Brudai. a star and a quarter. Brudai, as Gorilla Monsoon calls him non-stop. The Islanders and Bobby Heenan versus the Bulldogs and Dynamite Kid and Coco Beware. Dynamite Kid and Davey Boy with Coco Beware take on the Islanders and Bobby Heenan in a 6-man tag. That last match was a star and a quarter, by the way, the rating. Sorry, I just dodged. When there's 16 matches, it's kind of hard. And this match was a sleeper, actually, not in a bad way, like you might fall asleep during Jake Roberts and Rick Rude, but this match was a sleeper. It's an underrated match of the show. 2 stars and 3/4 I gave it in the end, as Coco Beware was pinned by Bobby the Brain Heenan after the Islanders placed Heenan over his body. So that was a sleeper of the night. Now we got our last semifinal tournament match between Savage and One Man Gang. Winner meets Dibiase. Macho Man is now in dark attire, and the One Man Gang ended up fucking himself over at 4:05 by using the cane on him to get himself disqualified. You make it this far in the tournament and you disqualify yourself, that's stupidly. I give the match 1 star. Next up, before the main event, in our 15th match of the night, we had Demolition Axe and Smash with Fuji versus Strikeforce, Rick Martel, and Tito Santana for the tag team titles. This is the other gem of the night. Remember, there's 2 gems. Valentine Steamboat in the first round, and this match here. I give this match 3 stars, as Axe from Demolition pinned Rick Martel at 12:33 to become the new tag team champions. This came after Axe came in and nailed Martel across the neck with the cane. Fuji leveled on the outside Tito Santana with his cane. So this was a great paced match here, and new tag team champions and Demolition are just awesome. So 3 stars. Now we have the main event, Savage and Dibiase. This match, the crowd was a little restless at this point. 16th match in a row they watched on pay-per-view. But Savage beats Dibiase after Hogan. Of course, Hogan's involved. He runs in and hits Dibiase with a chair. Huge pop. Behind the official anyway, Savage went to the top, hit the toe pro elbow. 1, 2, 3. Macho Man wins. Hogan goes like this, put the camera on Macho where it belongs. 3 stars for the main event. Final rating for this pay-per-view, probably higher than most people, but I give it a 6 out of 10. I think this match, the last match, when you combine it with Valentine Steamboat, the Islanders tag match, the tag match with Demolition winning the titles, the fact that I love tournaments, the fact that I'm a Randy Savage fan, I'll give it a 6 out of 10. It's not one of the better WrestleManias, but it's there. And be sure to stay tuned for next year's WrestleMania review when I do the Mega Powers Exploding. We'll get better as these reviews go along. It's going to be a lot of fun. The fun will continue, so hit like and subscribe one more time. And I'm Brett Mix. Thanks for watching, and I appreciate the time you've given me. And I'll be sure to do the same to you for WrestleManias going from 5 to 39 right after this. Thanks for watching, and I am out.